actively looking.
Yeah, because at the moment you have to actively go and ask for
exactly.
a test, don't you? So that's the important change.
When you say a screening programme, there isn't necessarily a screening programme, is there? It's a man has to go to his doctor and ask for his PSA levels to be checked. And I think what Chris wants to see is that when you go and ask maybe in your 40s, you're more likely to get a yes.
Or indeed, maybe that routine screening programme for everybody who could be at risk. We will talk about that so much more, and there's an extended version of that interview with Chris Hoyt that we will play for you just a little later.
But now it's time to go to Carol, who has this.
12 minutes to 8, let's talk to John. Morning.
Yeah, could Manchester United...
9 minutes to 8, and Nick Mohammed, probably best known for playing the kit man turned coach Nate Shelley in the comedy drama Ted Lasso.
Most recently, he starred in Taskmaster and has been a regular on the comedy circuit for years. Well, this winter, he's taking one of his beloved characters, Mr. Swallow, to the West End. We're going to speak to him in just a second, but now let's take a look at some of his work. Now, the family of a woman murdered for licensing taxis and private hire vehicles. It comes after the charity, the Susie Lamplugh Trust, found that 90 licences were granted to drivers with convictions for violent offences.
22-year-old Sian O'Callaghan disappeared after a night out in 2011. She got into a minicab driven by Christopher Halliwell, who was later jailed for life, as Laura Jones now reports.
From the Susie Lamplugh Trust. Thank you.
The time now is approaching 26 minutes past 7, and Sir Alan Bates, the leading campaigner for sub-postmasters, will give evidence to MPs today as part of an inquiry into the progress of compensation for those affected by the Post Office Horizon scandal. Hundreds
of victims are again in just a few minutes. Now, the smoking ban in England could be extended to include outdoor areas close to schools, hospitals and children's playgrounds. Vaping could also be banned in these areas under plans announced by the government as part of the tobacco and vapes bill. Our health editor, Hugh Pym, is actually asleep inside that building right now. Here, the smoking ban in England could be extended to include outdoor areas close to schools, hospitals and children's playgrounds. Vaping could also be banned in these areas under plans announced by the government as part of the tobacco and vapes bill. Our health editor, Hugh Pym, reports. Nearly 600 police officers were sacked and barred from returning to work in the year to March, according to new figures from the College of Policing. The new Conservative Party leader, Kemi Badenoch, will hold her first shadow cabinet meeting later today. 3 former leadership rivals have been named as part of her senior team, but some posts remain unfilled. Our chief political correspondent, Henry Zeffman, joins us now from Westminster. And, Henry, are they all going to play nice and be friends? In his first TV interview since revealing he has terminal cancer, Sir Chris Hoy has told us that his diagnosis came completely out of the blue, and he described the nightmare of having to tell his children. The 6-time Olympic cycling champion says it has been the toughest year of his life, but he is still grateful for every single day. Our sports correspondent Patrick Geary reports. For financial redress, as our business correspondent Emma Simpson reports.
Horizon scandal. The time approaching 7:30. Time to get the news, the travel and the weather where you are.
There's hope out there, and we will have more from that interview at 7:15.
Let's check in with Carol at what the weather looks like.
Has reached unacceptable levels, according to a new inquiry by the House of Lords Justice and Home Affairs Committee.
Yeah, more than 469,000 shoplifting offences in England and Wales were committed in the year to June. It is the highest rate since records began 20 years ago. Our reporter Jim Connolly has been speaking to business owners near Halifax.
All the very best as she gets better.
Headlines coming up for you very shortly, but before that, let's get the news, the travel and the weather where you are this morning. See you soon.
Surviving the last year and coming out of the other side of it with lessons in positivity and courage and how to face every day. And he would say that for anyone who's facing any adversity in their life, it's something you should really read.
Yeah, real example of sort of that mental resilience,
yes.
Just how you get through something like that. If you've been affected by any of the issues.
More of that later in the programme, as I said. Now, at 6:30, it's time to get the news, the travel and the weather where you're waking up this morning.
He needs to pace himself. He's got a very long day ahead.
Very long couple of days ahead.
Yes, he has. Yeah, we may not see him for some time if this kind of keeps going on.
Yeah.
We don't have a clear result by tomorrow. The time now, though, 6:42. John has joined us with the sport. It's just about to turn 7:15. Carol has a look at the weather, and we've seen more torrential rain in parts of Spain. Children.
For For a special programme on BBC One tonight, he tells us about the outpouring of support they have received and, remarkably, how he manages to stay focused on the positives. The incredible Sir Chris Hoy talking to me just a couple of days ago. That's just a small snippet of the interview that we've done with him, and the whole thing, I can tell you, is incredible. We've got a longer version coming at 8:15 this morning here on Breakfast.
Yeah, there's also a special
Out of surviving the last year and coming out of the other side of it with lessons in positivity and courage and how to face every day. And he would say that for anyone who's